everyone, thanks for checking out the channel. This is the 6th installment of my complete analysis of all 389 Bach chorales. Today we're looking at Christus, mein Leben, which means Christ is my life. Pretty strong consensus in terms of the translation and the title on that one. I've looked at a couple of translations now, and that's pretty much the translation, the English translation for the title. To compensate for the long chorale that we had yesterday, we have a short chorale today, only one system, and it's only 4 phrases long, so it's going to be a quick one to look at. Not a lot of harmonic movement, definitely one of Bach's earlier works, or perhaps just a simpler setting for a chorale, or for a melody that didn't have as much activity in it. But there are a couple of quirks and turns here and there, and I'll note those when those come up. So let's start by identifying the key. 1 flat. We start with an F major triad and end with the same spelling. I'm pretty convinced that we're in the key of F major. We start with the 1 chord, like I just said, an F major triad. Then the bass leaps up an octave, but the spelling pretty much just rotates the upper voices. E, C, G. That is a C major triad and first inversion. That's a 5 chord. Then we have an E flat in the bass. That's interesting, so we know we're dealing with some sort of F7 chord here, but the 7th of the chord is in the bass. That means this is a dominant in third inversion, 5-4-2 of 4, because F7 would be the dominant of B flat, and then it immediately goes to D, D, F, B flat. That is a 4 chord, a B flat triad in first inversion. Then we move on to C, G, E, C. It's a 5 chord, root position. We have some passing tones in the bass and the alto. And then we have E, C, G, C. That's just a 5 chord in first inversion. Then we go back to root position on 2 and then we have a 1 chord, an imperfect authentic cadence because A is in the soprano, not F. Then we have B flat, F, D. That's a 4 chord in root position. We don't see a lot of root position 4 chords actually. Most of them come in first inversion. A, C, F, C. Again, another 1 chord, but this time we're in first inversion and the 5th is doubled, so Bach likes to do that a lot. Then we have G, D, E, B flat. That's a 7 chord in first inversion, so it would be a 7-6-5. Then we have chord tones that happen on the later beats. This F right here is a suspension over the G, so this would be a 7-6 suspension. Interesting, over a diminished chord. And then we have F, C, F, A. That's a root position 1 chord. And then it turns into, this isn't a passing tone or a non-chord tone, it just inverts. And then we have C, C, E, G, again with this F being a 4-3 suspension over the bass. It's just a 5 chord in root position. And then we have another imperfect authentic cadence. Pretty much the same spelling, just the bass is down an octave. 1 chord. Then we have a rest. We don't see a lot of rests in the chorales thus far. Then we have another 1 chord, but A is in the bass. We have a B natural in the bass here, so it's kind of interesting. B, F, A, B. That could be kind of like a 7 or a 5. It's some type of dominant. We're going to call it 7. 7 of 5. And I think the piece modulates to C major here because we get a perfect authentic cadence here on C. That's what it sounds like to me, at least in the chorale. Listen to the chorale and see if that's what it sounds like here. I think there's an argument for it to be made that this is a half cadence, but we see a couple of B naturals happen in they're kind of far away from one another, which makes me feel like this whole section is thought of in terms of C. And the 7 chord immediately goes to a C major triad, C, E, G, E. A root position where he doubles the 3rd, not the root. Just Bach things. Then we have a 2 chord, D, D, A, F. This E is just a 9-8 suspension going on right here, so don't get confused by it. And again, another 3rd leap Like we saw right here, he's just inverting the triad right here, and this is a chord tone as well, this D. A, C, A, E. That's a 6 chord in root position. A passing tone. F, C, A, D. That is a 2 chord in first inversion in D minor triad, and again with a third leap that just turns it into a root position triad. That's what 5-3 means. And then we have G, B, D, G, a root position triad where he doubles the fifth, but the fifth is doubled via like he suspends it over 2 beats, so it's not as strong, but that's still a root position 5 chord, and that goes to 1. That's pretty much a textbook perfect authentic cadence, 2, 6, 5, 1. However, I'm pretty certain here that he goes to F major again, because immediately after this C, we go to F. So we could say the modulation happens here. We could say that it happens here. I'm just going to be consistent and say that it happens on the fermata, and it just goes to another 1 chord here, because that's what F would be now that we're in the key of F. And then we have G, B flat, E, G. Remember, this F is just a 7-6 suspension. That would make this a 7-6 chord, and we know 7-6 usually goes to 1 in some context. A, C, F, A usually goes to 1 in root position, but they went to a first inversion F major triad. And then we have B flat, F, G. Sorry, I called this a B flat. This is not a B flat, this is a D flat. B flat, D flat, F, G. So we have some mode mixture here. That would make this a 2 chord, but it's half diminished instead of minor, and it's in first inversion, so 2, 6, 5. So we have some mode mixture going on here. C, C, E, G. That's a 5 chord. We have a passing tone in the tenor, very, very weak passing tone, more like an ornament. And then we have F, A, C, F, a 1 chord. Perfect authentic cadence. And there you have it. Christus, der ist mein Leben. Pretty straightforward chorale. Not too much going on harmonically. We do get 1 modulation, some secondary dominance going on. But I think the most interesting thing in this chorale is this motive that's going on where he's arpeggiating the bass, and how the arpeggiation in the bass is kind of creating this non-chord tone feel, but instead this third motive in the bass is just re-inverting the chord in close proximity to one another. But other than that, very quaint chorale. I like it. I like the fact that it was short. It's very easy to analyze. And stay tuned for the next episode that I upload tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and Happy New Year.